figured I'd pop in and just do a quick little update on the book and where I'm at. I feel like I honestly look crazy right now, but I cannot put in any effort into my appearance at this particular moment in time just because I'm exhausted. My head has been hurting me, but you're not here for the fit right now. You're here for this. You're here for this. So let's talk about it. I am currently on chapter 10. I feel like I am flying through this book. I mean, granted, I'm only on page like 122 and there's almost, 530 pages in this book. So oh no, this is definitely almost a 600 page book. Okay, 567 pages. So, not hugely through the book, but for just starting this last night and getting the physical copy this morning, I feel like I'm making a pretty good dent, and I'm really enjoying this book. And I'm also kind of like sitting here wondering what's taking me so long to pick up a Kristen Hanna book. I don't know what's taking me so long. No, that's a lie. I know what's taking me so long. I've been terrified, like really interested, really excited to explore a new author and see what her work is all about, because she's had so much hype around her books of recent that I've seen, but I've been terrified because of what I've seen. You see people talking about how emotional these books are, people crying, like, I don't know, like that scares me because I don't really like to feel those emotions. I don't know anyone that likes to feel those emotions, but needless to say, I've been terrified to pick it up, but I'm glad that I have, although I can see how this book has the potential to rip my heart out. Like, so far, I just feel like I'm reading this book and kind of holding my breath a little bit because of what is taking place. Honestly, even from the first page of this book where we get introduced to our main character, and she is in her later years in life, and she's reminiscing on this time period. Is reminiscing the right word? I guess in a sense she is reminiscing, or just kind of like looking back on this time period that we are getting transported back to. So there's definitely a past and present timeline that's happening, although right now we are very much in the past. We haven't gotten back to the present, and I don't know if we're going to get back to the present until the end of the book, I'm assuming, which would be the conclusion. But guys, this is taking place during World War II, and if there is a time period in life that has had some type of emotional impact on me and how I view the world, it's definitely World War II. At least that's one of the top things that are up there. For some reason, when I was in school learning about World War II, Hitler, what happened to those that belonged to the Jewish faith, I don't know, I felt so heartbroken hearing these stories and feeling the fear that those that were living through this time period were feeling. And this book really transports you there. So, I don't know, I think I'm reading this pretty quick, but I also know that it's going to be important for me to take a breather and a break here and there. So I started reading or rereading Akamath yesterday. So if I need something to kind of take me away from this, I will probably pick this up, or I'll maybe find even something a little bit lighter to read. I don't know. But I'm very much enjoying it. It also takes place in Paris, which is very interesting to see how so many different areas of European countries were so deeply affected by, the war and the Germans invading their countries. And obviously I know it's a world war, so like it affected the entire war, but like it affected the entire world, but like it's just really interesting to hear the impact. So I don't know, I am very much enjoying this book. I also like the fact that it is telling a story of two sisters. That I think is something that I don't read enough of. And I also don't have a sister to compare what a relationship would look like between sisters. But I do really love to read books that have that kind of element happening. So there is that. I am probably going to take a break from reading just for now to go ahead and work on some thumbnails for videos, because I'm trying to crank them out right now while I can. And then I'll probably get back to reading here in a little bit. How much can we read today? That is the question. I did want to give you guys a quick little reading update. I am currently on chapter 19. My goal is to get 50% through this book today. That is the goal, and I think I can do it. I have like a little over 20 pages left to read, and I'll be 50% through this book in one day. But so far it has been really good, really interesting, just kind of being transported to this time period and it being told through the perspective of these two sisters. And right now I'm in a place where the sisters are not together. They're doing two separate things right now, and one sister in particular, Isabel, who is the younger sister, is very much like super headstrong. I'm sure she's afraid, but like she is not afraid essentially to fight for what she believes is the right thing to do. And from the beginning, she's very much been like super outspoken about how she wants to be of some kind of help. She wants to do something that is going to, I'm sorry, I can't deal with my hair. She wants to do something that makes a difference, and that is honestly to me super commendable, because it takes a special kind of person to be able to do that and not let fear overrun your decision making. So that has been super lovely to read about. Also, on the other hand, our older sister Ian is also equally strong, but in a completely different, I don't want to say completely different way, but how she shows her strength is different from Isabel. And she is the oldest. She is a mother. She is in a really tough situation right now. Like, her husband has been sent off to this war. So that is, first off, terrifying, because now you're not only fearing for your safety and your child's safety, but you're now also fearing for your husband, not knowing whether or not he is alive. Because think about the time period. This is happening during World War II. There are no cell phones. There are no ways to communicate other than sending letters and things and hoping that it reaches the person that you want it to go to. So I just can only imagine how incredibly difficult even that element on its own can be. And essentially where we're at right now is Vivian is just not in a very good place. She just had something happen to her, and now she is very worried, very concerned about what is going to happen to her and her child. How is she going to support herself and her child, make sure that they have food, stay warm? And it's also kind of like one of those things where, like, normally if you're in a tough situation or you're dealing with hardship, you can turn to friends and family for support. And especially during this time, like, you had a sense of community in these, these towns and these countries and these neighborhoods. But everybody's going through the same thing. So there's no one really to turn to. You're just trying to figure it out and make the best of it. And it's just such a strong value to me. Because that's hard. I can see how someone could easily crush under the weight of that pressure and the weight of all that stress. So overall, I am really thoroughly enjoying this. There was also, for me, what felt like a pretty nice reveal that just happened between Isabel and her father. Just a little bit of an update. I sound a little bit weird, probably because I'm not feeling that great now. Because I'm exhausted. My head has been hurting me now, which sucks. It started last night. I was getting ready to go to bed and my nose got really stuffy, and now my voice sounds great. I love it. Anyways, I have made quite a dent in the book. We don't have a lot left. I think there's about 8 chapters. I'm on chapter 30 now. So I'd like to ideally finish the book today. Also, just now at a point where I'm terrified to pick up the book because I know it's almost over. And there have definitely been hard moments that I've read about that, like, were just really sad or made me feel something, but I haven't felt overly emotional yet in the book. So I'm assuming that means I just haven't gotten to that part in the book. So I'm also maybe stalling a little bit, but I think I'll go ahead and at least read a little bit now and see where we go. Bear with me. I don't know what my hair is doing right now. I'm currently actually editing this video and I wanted to pop in and give you my final thoughts because it has been a few days now. I think I finished this book on Saturday and it is currently now Tuesday. So I finished The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and first off, my star rating, I'm actually going to give this book a 6 star, which sounds super odd to me, but I was thinking after I had finished this book just how much I felt an impact to who I am and how emotionally shattered I was after reading this book. I've also never flown through a book this big so fast before, I don't think. And I'm still currently thinking about this story, thinking about these characters. And also, I just loved Kristen Hanna's writing. So with all of those many different things combined, I just didn't feel like this would be another 5-star read. This felt like something bigger, something different. And I guess I never really thought about what I would consider a 6-star read feeling would be like, but this feels like it's this. So hopefully that makes sense, but ultimately like I said, am giving this book a 6 stars. And as you guys would have just seen, once I got to about that 100-ish page mark in the book, in terms of how much I had left, this really just cranked up the intensity, and it was just so gut-wrenching and so hard, but also so beautiful. I couldn't see this book honestly ending in a different way. I mean, there are endings I would have loved to have happened, but this ending felt like how the book should and also needed to end. I think the fact that we don't know who our voice is, that's kind of like narrating our present. We don't know who that really is. It's never said until basically the end. And they still don't say their name, but everything that like has happened from the past and how that gets told, we end up realizing who our narrator is throughout the book. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. So ultimately, would I recommend this book to anyone that is interested? Yes. This is definitely a book that I think I'm just going to honestly recommend to any and everyone that will listen to me. You do have to, I think, be ready to read this book. You do have to be prepared for the emotional impact that it's going to have on you. But I think my life has greatly improved upon reading this book. Just because it was really something that I think I needed. I think I needed this book. And this book is the book that I'm ending my reading goal on, which is incredible. I am at the end. I've crossed the finish line of my reading goal. I set out to read 60 books, and this was my 60th read, and it was by far my favorite read so far this year. We still have a little less than halfway through the year to go, so who knows what will happen between now and then, but this is definitely my favorite book so far. To wrap it up though, I do want to read just a quick little quote that was at the very first page of the book. It's actually the very first sentence of the book, but I think this really kind of solidifies what this book encompasses, if that makes sense. So, if I have learned anything in this long life of mine, it is this. In love, we find out who we want to be. In war, we find out who we are. That was beautiful, and I couldn't have said it better myself. Kristen Hanna, thank you for this beautiful, beautiful piece of writing. I can tell that she did a lot of research when putting this book together, and actually I think this was based off of true events from what I had seen in the back of the book. She basically goes on to say in her author's notes that several years before, when she was researching for her book Winter Garden, she came across the story of a young Belgian woman. I do not want to mispronounce her name, so I'm just going to type it down here below, who created an escape route essentially during the war. And she just goes on to say that she was mesmerized by these women's stories and how they had to pay this terrible and horrific price for heroism. So, I don't know. I just overall love this. Great book. If you haven't picked it up yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Definitely go and pick it up. But thank you so much for being here and watching today's reading vlog. If you liked this style video, let me know in the comments down below. If there is a particular book that you want to see me read next, definitely let me know that down below as well. And as for now, I'm gonna go ahead and finish editing this video, but I will catch you guys in the next one.